Hi Halloweenies, I'm Ozzy the Horror Cub. Take a trip with me to Haddonfield because it's time to review Rob Zombie's Halloween. Let's get into it. Released in 2007, directed by Rob Zombie, this would be a total reboot slash reimagining of the Michael Myers mythos. Rob Zombie really wanted to explore what makes a psychopath. This film really deals with the ideology of nature versus nurture and what the perfect storm is in creating a human psychopath. Gone is the supernatural portrayal of Michael Myers from 1978. In its place is Tyler Mane, big, brooding Michael Myers. And let me tell you something, I want to climb him like a tree. But this Michael, at the end of the day, is a human man. And we really do get to pull off his mask and see what makes him tick. That's the really interesting thing about Rob Zombie's approach to the Halloween mythology. He does really want us to try and create an understanding of who Michael Myers is and how he becomes the boogeyman on Halloween night. The first half of the film really does dive into Michael's psychopathy. We get to see him hurting animals, we get to see him being bullied, we get to see him being in this totally abusive household. So we're slowly understanding what's making Michael tick and what's leading him up to the Halloween night massacre. This film is brutal, it holds no punches. That's one great thing about Rob Zombie films. They really do feel like they're real, like it's really happening. It's visceral. The response that Zombie creates is always that visceral response of, what I'm seeing on the screen is real. When I see zombie films, they look real. And that's the great thing about Rob Zombie. He does put a lot of effort into his films. With a film like Halloween, Rob Zombie has a particular DNA. And his DNA that he uses in his movies like House of a Thousand Corpses or 31 or Lords of Salem, he takes that and he puts that DNA onto the Halloween stamp. This is his vision of the Michael Myers continuity though, and he really does take the reins going forward in Halloween 2 in 2009. However, this film you could really feel that Malik Akkad and Dimension Studios was still making him trying to do the Halloween story. That's why this movie feels like it's two different parts to me. It's two different films in a way. The first part is Michael Myers in the insane asylum, examining what happened to him that night of Halloween, and you get a lot of great character development. Malcolm McDowell is here, and he's playing Dr. Samuel L. Loomis, and it's a different portrayal of Dr. Loomis. The characters from 1978 are existing in this continuity. It's just been refreshed. Dr. Loomis is a little bit more fame-hungry in this version, and he becomes even more fame-hungry leading into the sequel, but you do really get to see that he does try to make an effort with Michael, and there's a lot of great scenes with Doug Fetch, the young Michael Myers, and him in the insane asylum. It's a connection that we never really had with Dr. Loomis and Michael. These two are almost feeling like estranged brothers almost at this point. It almost feels like Dr. Loomis, he wants to do everything to help Michael at this point, but he knows that he can, and that's why he walks away. And there's almost a heartbreak in Michael's eyes when he's looking at him too. At the end, you really do see this when Dr. Loomis goes to Michael and he's trying to stop him from coming at Laurie. Laurie has been cornered in this abandoned pool in the Myers house, and you could see Dr. Loomis pleading with him, saying, Michael, before he shoots that gun, he doesn't want to shoot that gun, and you can really see there's a hesitation there. This is a different portrayal of Dr. Loomis than how Donald Pleasance perceived him. Donald Pleasance's character was a little bit more aggressive. This one's coming off as a little bit more passive, a little bit more understanding. But at the end of the day, he still knows that Michael is a psychopath, but a human psychopath at that. Whereas the original Dr. Loomis, there was a lot more supernatural intention behind it when he talked about the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. You didn't think that he was talking about a human man, and he kept talking to him as it. Whereas in this version, Michael is very much human, and he even grunts when he's being attacked. Now, why I say a lot of people are either going to love this or they're going to hate this, it's just because Rob Zombie's DNA that he does put onto his movies, they can be a little bit, and I'm going to say it, white trash. The white trash element of his movies is heavily felt in this film, and I feel like if you took that away, it could be a perfect Halloween movie, especially for a reboot reimagining of the franchise, because this film is brutal, does have an amazing portrayal with grown-up Michael Myers, and I do love the story that they do transition on with remaking the 1978 story in the back half of the film. But the problem is, it's so crude, it's so crass. Me preferably, I don't want to see rape in my movies. I just feel like Rob Zombie's dialogue, it's either somebody saying the B word or the C word every 5 minutes, and that's okay for like House of a Thousand Corpses. I just didn't think that it transitioned into the Halloween series. It just didn't feel like that white trash element was needed for me. That breakfast scene just took a lot to go through. If you could take away that subplot and you could just put in normal dialogue, an example is Scout Taylor Compton is Laurie Strode in this film, and I absolutely adore her as Laurie. story. However, the scene where she fingers the bagel in front of her mother, like, who would do that? It's just characters wouldn't talk and behave a certain way, and the way that Rob Zombie writes his characters, they're all written the exact same. They're all written to be that white trash character, and maybe it's because I'm Canadian that I don't understand that Americana-ness behind it, but I just think it comes off as crass, it comes off as crude, it makes me not want to watch the film at the end of the day, just because of how uncomfortable it makes me feel. If you could take that away though, it's an amazing Halloween movie, although a lot of people don't want to see Michael Myers have a backstory, and to that I tell them, we have the Michael Myers multiverse now. There are whole different variants of Michael Myers now, and we can appreciate it for what it is, and I do appreciate this version of Michael Myers and this interpretation of what a psychopath is. What I don't appreciate is the fact that Rob Zombie casts his wife in every single movie. Every single movie you're gonna find Sherry Moon Zombie, and here she's playing Mrs. Myers, and let me tell you something, she works it on that pole as a stripper. I'll give her that. When Love Hurts by Nazareth plays, work Sherry Moon Zombie on that pole, and you do really feel sympathy for her as the mother because she's going through her son committing these atrocities towards the daughter, the boyfriend, Ronnie, the stepdad. Like, Michael really took out the entire family, and when she kills herself, it's with a heavy heart. The soundtrack though that Rob Zombie chose for this film, the 70s songs, whether it be like Tom Sawyer, whether it be Love Hurts, great score that really amplifies the film and really pushes it forward. I really did appreciate it, and Tyler Bates composing this film really does take John Carpenter's original soundtrack and runs with it off the gate. Unnerving and it's unsettling, but he makes it work. I really do appreciate the score. Scout Taylor Compton does an amazing job as Laurie Strode, and she's really put through the Final Girl Olympics at the end of this movie. The last part of this movie, you're really going into it thinking that this is a remake of the Carpenter original, but Zombie does run with it. The second that he traps Laurie in the Meyer house, and she escapes into the abandoned pool, and she has to run up to the Myers house, and she's in the attic, and Michael pushes her off the balcony, she goes through living hell in this film. She goes through a lot more trauma than Jamie Lee Curtis did in the original Halloween 1978. She's put through hell in this night, and they are brother and sister in this timeline, and that's something that I do appreciate because it really does give him the angle as to why he was coming after Laurie. He was trying to bring his family home together. He wanted Boo, his sister, and you know, when you come at it through that mythology, when you come at it through the fact that this was his saving grace, his little sister was the saving grace, and he doesn't know how to communicate that to her because he doesn't have that communication ability anymore, and she goes and stabs him in the neck, it is heartbreaking. He doesn't know what to do with her at this point, so he just goes after her, and boy does he go after her. The finale of this movie, the last 20 minutes, a lot of great suspense, a lot of great chase scenes, a lot of great music. The acting here is top notch. I love that Danielle Harris is back. Danielle Harris is playing Annie Brackett. Annie Brackett is Laurie Strode's best friend. My favorite character from the original Halloween 1978. Danielle Harris was the star of Halloween 4 and Halloween 5, The Return of Michael Myers, as Jamie Lloyd. She's being brought back to the franchise, and you know what? I buy her as a 17-year-old, and I do buy Scout Taylor Compton because she was at this time a 17-year-old too, so it feels very organic, the girls in this movie. Linda though, she's got a mouth on her, and I don't want to even hear it. Everything she says is just like the C word, the B word, and I'm like, okay. Like, I'm okay for swearing too, girlfriend, but like literally, like, it was just too much for me. It was just too much. And that's where I think the dialogue could have been refined. I feel like he could have given it to somebody, like a script doctor, and they could have been like, I don't think a 17-year-old girl's gonna talk about her snatch so aggressively. But the brutality in this movie is everything. This is Michael at pretty much the most brutal we've ever seen him up until Halloween 2 from 2009. Michael is just raging going after people. When he takes out Laurie's parents, he shows no mercy. In the insane asylum, when he's taking out the guards, and then he goes after poor Danny Trejo's character, and he's like, I was good to you, Mikey. It doesn't matter because he's a psychopath, and at the end of the day, all he cares about is killing. Killing to get home to Boo. Oh, at the end of the day, it is a really cute story, but it's ruined, I think, by the hillbilliness of what Rob Zombie tried to do to it. If you could take away that hillbilly aesthetic, this would be a near perfect Halloween reimagining. It tried to do something different, and I appreciate that. A lot of people are going to say, though, that it should have been two separate films. Not everyone's going to love this film, and that's okay. Why I can appreciate it, though, I can appreciate the brutality. I can appreciate giving a different portrayal of Michael Myers. It is a different story at the end of the day. It is a different Halloween multiverse. I'm so glad, though, secretly between you and I, that we're on the right direction, that we are with Halloween Kills, because I love that we're picking up back with Jamie Lee Curtis. I just think she was done so dirty in Halloween Resurrection, so I'm glad to see where we're going now with the Halloween continuity. But you know what, Rob Zombie, you did a really great effort. For me, it's a 7 out of 10. great suspense in this film, great soundtrack, great acting. It's just the profanity. If we could take away the profanity, take away the white trash element, I'd be super into it. But because of all those reasons and more, that's why for me it's a 7 out of 10. Let me know what you think though. Did you appreciate Rob Zombie's reimagining of Halloween? And don't forget to smash that subscribe button and hit that like, because next time we're going to be talking about Halloween 2. Not that Halloween 2, that Halloween 2. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Until next time, stay spooky.